3 ways to rediscover your joy by focusing on what really matters. You are now listening to the Teach Well podcast, Season 1, Episode 3. Previously on our last episode, those little kids are so cute. They get to you. They make your money jump out of your purse. But we are going to be strong. I use my brakes. I go in my room. I lock the door. I turn off the light. I do yoga. Sometimes I just sit there and watch The Real Housewives. Welcome to the Teach Well podcast, where we passionately educate, encourage, and discuss the wellness of our nation's most valuable resource, our educators. I am your host, MJ, and I'll be leading us on this journey of prosperity. We'll learn how to improve our finances, get rid of stress, and maintain a healthy lifestyle. So stay tuned and join our community as we find peace, work-life balance, and dare to make ourselves a priority. Because in order to teach well, we must be well. Welcome, everybody, to the Teach Well podcast. I'm your host, MJ, and like always, how are you? How are you really? I hope all is going well with you. As for me, I'm feeling pretty good today. I am taking stock. It's been a half a year. I've returned to the classroom, and let me tell you, it's been the best decision I've made in a long time. I love my students. I love my life now. I love the time that I have free. I'm not taking so much work home. I'm not trying to balance my responsibilities with work and home. I don't know if it's a job change or job shift or just a mindset shift. So I'm happy. I'm feeling good. Matter of fact, I had an awesome evening. I went to pick up my daughter from a party. It was at one of those places, it's like an arcade, a bowling alley, a karaoke bar, all those different things rolled up into one. My daughter's friend, she's been knowing since preschool, was having her Sweet 16 party there. And when I went to pick up my daughter, like most times, she wasn't ready to leave. So I thought, well, cool, I'll go play some arcade games. I love games, and this gives me a chance to do that. So I went over to pay for it, and my goodness, it's expensive. What happened to games being a quarter? Am I old? Yes, I know. But it was expensive, but I bought the least expensive card because I know that you can say it has 20 credits, but the average game might cost 10 credits or whatever. So I just bought the least expensive card. I'm on this debt diet, so I can't really spend that much money. I choose not to spend that much money. And so I'm going around playing, and my daughter comes out, and she's like, you know what, Mom, you should play this Star Wars game. So I said, okay, you have to actually get into this egg-like structure to play the game. And I'm in there, and I look down, and it's a video game card. If you haven't been to the arcade in a long time, we're not dropping quarters anymore. They give you this credit card-like thing. So I picked it up, and I said, oh my goodness, somebody must have lost it. So I I brought it to the front to see if anybody was missing it. And they were like, well, just keep it, because if someone's missing it and they can prove it, we'll just replace it. So I said, cool. So I went and I swiped it, and it was like $40 on there. Ooh. So I said, wow, I get to play $40 worth of games. Which I didn't want to do it all in one night, but it did feel good to get a card. And I have one of those AMC movie deals where you can go to see 3 movies a day, or you can go to the movies anytime you feel like it. And there's an AMC movie theater right there. Maybe on some Saturdays, I'll stop off, watch a movie, and then come over and play some games. Cool. So I'm just having a good day, and I'm wishing you guys all the same. So today's topic is 3 ways to discover or rediscover your joy by focusing on what really matters. I'm assuming most of you who listen to this podcast are teachers or educators. And if you're in education long enough, you will be on a bit of a roller coaster. I equate teaching like being married. You come in at 23, 24, and you have a certain amount of time and a certain focus, and that's fine. But who you are at 23, 24 is not who you are at 54 or 44 or 34, or nor should it be, right? You should change and develop. The time you have at 24 and maybe at 44 or 54 may not be the time you have at 34 when you have two little kids at home and your work-life balance, trying to figure that all out. Also, if you're in education long enough, odds are you'll have regular life experiences. Some of us go to work as teachers being pregnant. I was pregnant with all of my girls and teaching at the same time. And I have a really bad pregnancy or trying pregnancy where, you know how you have morning sickness and you might just be sick for the first 3 months. I'm sick the whole entire time I'm pregnant. And I was unable to find any medication to help. So I was teaching class and having to run to the restroom and be sick. I'm sorry, TMI, but it was just a challenge. And so if you're pregnant or having young kids at home, some of us deal with the death of a parent, divorces, all kinds of emotional things that take place while we're teaching. Some of us have physical conditions like I know people who are working who have cancer, who have serious health issues. But one thing that as an educator is that you have to show up and teach every day. And you're not going to get special privileges or time to stop in the middle of the day and cry your eyes out because your mom passed, or time to stop and take care of yourself physically. And a lot of times we lose our joy in education because we aren't allowed to be human and feel and go through phases. So everybody expects you to show up and be super teacher or the perfect teacher year after year after year after year. And to be honest, that's just impossible. It's impossible to be a perfect teacher anyway, and it's impossible to be a super teacher anyway. But there are times when you just have to go home early. So if they want to talk about you being the teacher with the purse that's leaving when the kids leave, then let them talk, because that's your reality. If they want to talk about you being late all the time to work, but you have morning sickness and you got sick and you're just late, it's better than calling off and just being off all the time you're feeling sick. You just come in. You have to know yourself and you have to accept yourself. But a lot of time, that's not the case. Unfortunately, our administrators can be tough on us and still hold us to the exact same standard when I don't think that it's fair. Our peers can be competitive and have expectations on what our room should look like, what we should be giving kids for homework, how long we should stay at school, what we should wear to school, all these things. And if you live with that long enough and you don't find the support somewhere and you don't know how to take yourself, put yourself first, then your morale can drop just like anybody else. And I've been on campuses where you walk on campus and you can feel the heaviness. You can feel the depression on campus. As you know, I wasn't always a teacher. I was a literacy coach. I was a district administrator. I was a principal. And each campus has a feel to it. You can go on some campuses and it feels exciting and everybody's fired up and it's feeling good. You can go on some campuses and you walk in half the classrooms and everybody's on fire, and go to the other half of the campus and everybody looks like they're just barely hanging on. And you can go to some campuses and, and my heart breaks. My heart literally breaks because there's something going on there that these people, and a lot of times they're people I've been knowing for years who are great teachers. And I remember when they were on fire and excited about coming to work. You go on the campus now and, you hear things like, I can't wait till I retire, or how many days till Christmas, or I cannot stand the school, or I need to go on vacation now, or you start hearing about people with all these physical conditions that are brought upon by stress. So today we're going to talk about if you find yourself in that position, and I'm not saying you are in that position, but many of us are. I've been there. How do you get back? How do you get back to the place where you are happy with your job and you're happy when you go to work every day and you have rediscovered your joy? So what to do? The first step is to take back your power by reclaiming your purpose. Or if you had a purpose when you first started teaching, we need to remember that. It's important that we put our life, whether it be our home life or our work life, in the best hands possible. And those are your hands. You are the one that knows your talents, who knows what the children need and knows your restrictions or what you enjoy and what is best for your wellness. And we don't need to give that up. Don't give that to anyone. So why did you get into education? Was it to raise test scores? I doubt it. More than likely, you wanted to educate the future, prepare students, have an impact on the world, and maybe selfishly because you enjoyed it. And that's not very selfish, that's just wise. So since we know our purpose, ask yourself, is our purpose driving what we do at work? Or is someone else's vision of what we're supposed to be doing driving what we do at work? David Bowie said, never work for other people. Always remember the reason you initially started teaching. It's dangerous to grab onto other people's expectations. You know what it leads to? Your poorest work. You will never do excellent work if you're working for someone else's purpose. So reclaiming your joy begins with personal responsibility. Every time someone asks you to do something at work and you feel stretched, you feel like it's too much, you feel like it's not worth your time, you need to take responsibility on how much time and energy you're going to give that project. I was in a training this week, and it was for this computer program, and I've been trained on it. But they gave us this checklist of about 15 things that we needed to know how to do by the end of the training that they expected us to already know how to do. I don't know how, because lots of people in there hadn't even been trained. And so we went through the checklist very quickly. The presenter said something that I thought was kind of like a veiled threat. Said, well, the district is going to come in every classroom and check to make sure that you have this checklist for this computer program. So the teachers on my grade level turned to me and they started saying, oh my goodness, where am I going to keep this form? That's not fair, all these things. But you know what I was thinking? Let them come. This paper, hanging onto this sheet of paper, is not in line with my purpose. I'm not even giving it the mental space in my mind. I'm not even going to give it a space on my wall. If somebody comes in and they say, where's the checklist for the computer program? I'm just going to say, I don't have it. Because I've already made up in my mind what my main purpose is. See, when you go to work, they're going to give you a million things to do. And you'll get stuck in the trivial of it. It's just trivial information, trivial things. And you'll be so busy working on all these little bitty things that you forget to work on the things that really matter, which is instruction, which is relationships with your students, which is your own wellness and time and energy. I've noticed a lot of the complaining that we tend to do is because we see ourselves as a victim of the district, a victim of the state, a victim of the parents. And a victim will only see what keeps him a victim. But there is another perspective, the perspective of power, the perspective of choice. And we all have that choice. And we need to make sure that our purpose is our priority number one. And everything else needs to be measured against how much it works towards or works against that purpose. And let me tell you a secret. The more you start making your own decisions at work and standing by them because they support your purpose, you're going to feel so much better. The more you love your own decisions, the less you need other people to love them. So if they want to complain because your bulletin board isn't as pretty as it should be, your library isn't in cute little cubbies, and you don't have all the books separated exactly the way they feel it needs to be, if the parents don't like that you had to take 2 days off because you had to take your mother to the doctor, who cares? Because you're on purpose. You're focused. You're zeroed in. You're narrowed up. You're focused on that purpose. And if you commit to do what is in your heart, you will get it. If you commit to being the best at instruction, relationship, and nurturing yourself, you will be an excellent educator and an excellent and happy educator. Your happiness will come as your wellness improves. The next step is to protect your energy. Once you know your purpose, you've decided to take back your power and focus on that purpose. It won't be easy. As soon as you get started, I don't know what it is. There's going to be criticism coming at you. The haters are going to come out of nowhere. We all know those teachers, and maybe some of us are those teachers who always complain. There is always an issue. Now, I'm not saying the issues are not real. A lot of times the issues are real. But again, we are not working from a victim perspective. If we think that there's a problem, we're going to try to decide whether or not it's in line with our purpose or not. And if it's not, we're not even going to put our energy into it. But we have to stay away from that negative energy. Now, that's hard. It's hard for me because you know why? Because I'm petty. I like the conversation. I like to hear the complaining. Usually the person complaining is funny, and I kind of like to hear it. That is a bad thing. I'm not going to act like it's not, but I'm drawn to it for whatever reason. I like the tea, but it's not good for me. So when I go out on recess duty, there's this lady every day she's complaining. I mean, all day long. So I started bringing my earphones. I know you're not supposed to watch the kids with their earphones on, but I put one in one ear and I keep the other one out. And I either listen to soft music or something like that because I can't allow myself to get caught up in the mundane, trivial things that are happening in the school because I'm too focused on what my purpose is. Another way to protect your energy is to watch what you're watching on TV, what you're listening to on the news or podcast or YouTube or anything like that. And also to check your social media. There are lots of things and people that need to be blocked because they're just energy zappers. They just bring you down. They bring up everything negative that's happening in the world. And if you want to be on fire and you want to be happy, you can listen to some of that stuff sometimes. Some things are important. But for the most part, you have to start being the type of person that kind of weighs things. Like, is this even important? Does this even affect me? Because it's so negative. It's having me change my energy. And I just don't want it. You have to be that focused. You have to say, anything negative that's not to my benefit, I'm just going to let it go. So your energy projection is very important. One example of when I had to really watch my energy was this year. I call it a kinder class, but really it's a K1 combination class. And for some reason, my administration expects me to teach a full day of kinder and a full day of first grade in one day's worth of time. And she keeps giving me more curriculum to cover, more books to read, more tests to give, and things like that. So my workload is doubled. So in the past, young MJ would have worked herself to death. She would have been trying to teach all of kindergarten, all of first grade, all of the ELA, math, science, PE, everything, 2 subjects in one day's time. Now, I'm not that girl anymore. I drilled down early on in the year and decided what are the main things that a kindergartner needs to know in order to be prepared for first grade, and what are the main things that first graders need to know in order to be prepared for second grade. Those things, and I only gave myself 5 for kinder and 5 for first grade. And those are the only things I focus on. Am I following the rules? Probably not. But they don't make sense. They're not effective. I would be burning myself at both ends of the candle, and I wouldn't be effective. But by doing this, all my test scores are excellent. My children are happy. I'm happy. They're learning, and I don't have to stress. Now, at the beginning of the year, when we kept getting curriculum and we kept getting these mandates, and I just wouldn't do them. I don't announce that I'm not doing it. I just don't do it, or I put it to the side, or I take a piece that I think would be helpful or fits into my schedule, and I do those things. I got a lot of pushback because people were like, oh my goodness, you're going to get in trouble. The administrator is going to come and write you up. They're going to need these test scores, and the kids are missing out on learning, say, synonyms and antonyms and things like that. But, this is a situation that I'm in. This is a real life situation. So I'm just not worrying about it. I'm not even going to give them the energy. So it's important when you make these decisions that you are tough. Don't give up so easily just because people don't agree with you, or just because you might have to do a lot of explanation to your administrator or to a parent or whomever. That is no reason to get off task and to lose focus. Because by staying focused, you'll keep your wellness and you'll reach your instructional targets. So be resilient. I encourage you, be resilient. Okay, and the third way to rediscover your joy by focusing on what really matters is to make sure that you focus on your time. I want you to take a minute and imagine you have just a stove. You know how you have 4 burners on your stove? So imagine that each one of your purposes or goals is sitting on one of those burners. Okay, you have that picture. So you have the 4 burners and you have 4 pans. In each pan, you might have quality instruction. The next one might be to build relationships with your students. The next one is to balance your work life and your home life. And the next one is to maybe become a better teacher, to learn more about a specific topic. Okay, you got your 4 items? Okay, so this is how you're going to protect your time. Every request, every mandate, every suggestion that comes in, weigh it against those 4 things. Imagine if somebody says, you know what, you have to do this. I want you to have this beautiful bulletin board, or I want you to create these journals, these reading journals or fluency folders or something like that, that you might need for your classroom. Imagine that those things either fit in the pan, or you have to take something off of the burner, one of the pans off the burner, to put that on. Okay, so Suppose your goal was to, I don't know, ensure quality instruction. And someone said, you know what? I need you to create fluency folders for your class, for each student, and to do fluency every day. So that you might say, okay, that fits in the quality instruction pan, but there's only so much room in that pan. And sometimes you might say, in order to do that, I won't be able to give quality instruction. So I'm going to have to move my quality instruction pan off of the burner and put fluency on there. And ask yourself, is it worth it? Is it worth giving up the time that you're providing quality instruction to your students to create or to do fluency every day for 30 minutes? It may be. It may not be. It's up to you. And I'm telling you that if it's not worth taking one of those things off the burner, if it's not worth the trade-off, then you need to work around it. Because there's going to be so many things hitting you. Oh, you need to get prepared for this test. Or, oh, you need to prep the students for ELD in this way. Or, oh, you need to use this book. Or, oh, you need to use this program. How does it fit? Because you only have 4 burners. And whether or not you choose to move a pan off, if you add something there that doesn't fit into what your system is, it's going to take the place of one of those 4 items. There's only so much time and energy that is available to all of us. So if you're going to stay on purpose and on target, you have to practice weighing. In order to be successful and happy and balanced, you got to keep those 4 things on the burner. You got to keep the burner on only 4 things. If you try to light up the stove and put 8 things on your stove, you're going to be burnt out. You only have room for 4. So what is it going to be? I say they should be 4 that are based on your purpose that you had from the beginning of your teaching career, or a new purpose that you've discovered. But you can't do everything. In order to be successful, you have to make a choice. Now, like most of you, there was a time when I was very stressed out, and I thought it was because just of all these unfair expectations, which had something to do with it. But really, it was because I couldn't determine what was trivial and what was important. See, everything excited me, or everything was something that thought I needed to explore. So if it was a new thing that came out, if it was research about trauma, I would dive into that and try to include all these trauma strategies. If it was some new request from the principal, they needed me to do something, I would just jump and do it. And pretty soon I felt so overwhelmed because I kept saying yes to everything. I kept exploring everything. I kept trying everything, and I just got dizzy. Have you ever been in a staff meeting or something and you're just like, if they give me one more thing, I don't know how it's going to fit. I don't know how I'm going to do this. And you're just stressing yourself out. So this is where time comes in. So if you have those 4 things on your burner, the next thing I need you to do is to schedule in time for reflection. Now, what I try to do is on Fridays, I try to stay after or take my lunch period and I'm not even prepping. Not time to prep, not time to copy, but just sit here and think to myself, okay, how's it going? It's pretty easy to reflect when you have 4 specific goals. You can check in. So, okay, how am I feeling? How am I doing? Am I eating? Am I exercising? Am I relaxing? Am I feeling stressed, right? How's the instruction going? Are the children learning? Do the children seem happy to be here? Are they relating to me? What have I learned new this week? Have I learned something that will help me become a better, effective teacher? You see, the main thing is to learn how to keep the main thing the main thing. Just one more thing I would like to add is as you go through this process, to have the attitude of gratitude. I want you to feel grateful before you start seeing the results. because we are very blessed to be educators, and we're very blessed to have the power of choice or have strategies to improve our wellness. If you do those 3 steps and have an attitude of gratitude, you will start seeing your joy return. You will start feeling like you're making a difference again. There is a way to reclaim your joy by focusing on what matters. Just remember to determine your purpose, monitor and watch and protect your energy, and use your time wisely. Thank you for listening to the Teach Well podcast, where teacher wellness matters. And remember, in order to teach well, you must be well. Don't forget to like, follow, and subscribe.